Good day, everyone. Welcome back. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Please excuse any videos that do not play properly on BitChute. For some reason, it buffers. BitChute is not as user-friendly as YouTube. And I'll do my best. And I did a prior vid and I put the link to YouTube below. So if I see that happening, I'll just put the link to the YouTube because when I can, I do upload videos on YouTube and BitChute. BitChute is a little bit more um, free when it comes to freedom of speech, but YouTube is a lot more user friendly. So please forgive any of my videos that it depends on your the type of service you have in browser. So I'm going to just show you guys, not going to make this long, about the Hippocratic Oath and how it's been revised. And the Hippocratic Oath is what these physicians would take when they graduate their medical schools. It was some type of, promise not to hurt the patients and to do no harm and to not give any dangerous substances, right? So you're like, okay, how did it go from there to now? Because now there's a lot of dangerous substances being prescribed. And when you see the Hippocratic Oath, they say now less than 2% of physicians even take it. And it's so revised, so redacted, so watered down. It's not even, it doesn't have the weight that it once did. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit from the original, the ancient version, which shows that they did invoke their pagan gods and they did tap into supernatural knowledge. On this channel, I talk about, the fallen angels first versus the God of Israel, the God of Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Noah, that one. Well, that's not the one that's being invoked in these oaths, okay? That's why a lot of naturopaths, holistic practitioners would not be caught dead in an allopathic institution because of just the practices they do are very contrary to biblical principles. Okay, it says most medical schools in the U.S. still give some form of this oath at graduation. I mean, you think, that's the caduceus symbol. I've been telling people that symbol is a lot to do with the Greek god Hermes or Mercury or Asclepius. Okay, I'm just going to call them fallen angels because there's only one God, okay? There's only one creator God. Everybody wants to be the alpha, the big dog, but they can't. But you have these entities, who I guess could give you inside information, right? Maybe. But the Hippocratic Oath, I just had the original one open. That's just lovely. Let me try to find it. I must have closed it out. That's just lovely. Let's see, original. Let me go to my, because I had the one just opened. I am so sorry. We'll try to do this again quickly, because there's a modern one right here. I don't know why I closed out. I'm so sorry. So there's a modern one that is way, 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 way different than the original one. Okay, so we'll just read a bit more. I'm going to read, that's the modern one. So I'll just read a little bit of the original just to show you this was the original Hippocratic Oath, and they did swear by certain entities. So it says, I swear by Apollo the physician, Asclepius, and health, and all heal. I'm not sure if this is also a deity. See, all heal, health. I mean, these could be personifications. And all the gods and goddesses that according to my ability and judgment, I will keep this oath and the stipulation, to reckon him who taught me this art equally dear to me as parents, to share my substance with him and relieve his necessities if required, to look up his offspring in the same footing as my own brothers, and to teach them this art if they shall wish to learn it, without fee or stipulation, and that by precept, lecture, and every other mode of instruction, I will impart a knowledge of the art to my own sons, and those of my teachers, and to disciples bound by a stipulation and oath according the law of medicine, but to none others. I will follow that system of regimen which according to my ability and judgment I consider for the benefit of my patients, and abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous. I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked, nor suggest any such counsel, and in like manner I will not give a woman a pessary to produce abortion. Pessary is a suppository, guys, if you didn't know. So I guess to induce abortions, they would put chemicals inside the woman. Awful. With purity and holiness. So this is sounding very religious when I tell people this indeed is a religion. I will pass my life and practice my art. I will not cut persons laboring under the stone, but will leave this to be done by men who are practitioners of this work. Into whatever houses I enter, I will go into them for the benefit of the sick, and will abstain from every voluntary act of mischief and corruption, and further from the seduction of females or males, of freemen and slaves. Whatever in connection with my professional practice or not, in connection with it, I see or hear in the life of men, which ought not to be spoken of abroad, I will not divulge, as reckoning that all should be kept secret. While I continue to keep this oath unviolated, may it be granted to me to enjoy life and the practice of the art, respected by all men in all times. But should I trespass and violate this oath, may the reverse be my lot. So this is really interesting too, because it shows you what's happening in these schools now. It doesn't have to be a medical school, but basically teaching in these schools, it is like a church, and they're treating the teachers, they're being told, and it's implied, there's implications, you don't even have to say it out loud because you can see it, how the students take to the teachers as if they were their parents. They'll listen to these people over you half the time, okay? You don't think so? Yeah, they do. And it even says that they were without fear, and to teach them, they were supposed to teach this art, for free too, to their brothers and sisters, or to, if they shall wish to learn it, but without fee. How much is medical school now, guys? Unbelievable, right? So it just shows how far it is from the original, totally perverted, and it also shows they have their own entities they follow. So the medical system is against most of our religious beliefs and practices, okay? Because they are their own church, their cults, okay? That's not the God of the Bible. That's not his name, Apollo. There's another entity named this, though, if you knew anything. That's why they name all their space missions in NASA. Who do you think's the God of NASA, too? Yeah, it's time we start looking down these roads and these names. But now you got this so-called modern version, and I have one even more liberal that I'm going to read to you quickly, but it shows how they already changed the Apollo and the Asclepius to now it's just simply the Almighty. And that can get very confusing for people because the Most High is considered God Almighty. So when you just put the word Almighty, that's a very, very loaded term. And it's only supposed to be for one entity, right? But so that's why you got a lot of people thinking, oh, this is such a holy institution. They're Christians. They're this not, they're that. Like, this just shows you that's a pagan oath. And now it's so watered down. They probably don't even abide by the whole do no harm adage and just go out there and do harm willy-nilly. So it says here, I swear in the presence of the Almighty and before my family, my teachers, and my peers that according to my ability and judgment I will keep this oath and stipulation, to reckon all who have taught me this art equally dear to me as my parents, and in the same spirit and dedication to impart a knowledge of the art of medicine to others. I will continue with diligence to keep abreast of advances in medicine. I will treat without exception all who seek my ministration so long as the treatment of others is not compromised thereby. And I will seek the counsel of particularly skilled physicians where indicated for the benefit of my patient. I will follow that method of treatment which, according to my ability and judgment, I consider for the benefit of my patient, and abstain from whatever is harmful or mischievous. I will neither prescribe nor administer a lethal dose of medicine to any patient, even if asked, nor counsel any such thing, nor perform the utmost respect for every human life from fertilization to natural death, and reject abortion that deliberately takes a unique human life. With purity, holiness, and beneficence, I will pass my life and practice my art. Except for the prudent correction of an immediate danger, I will neither treat any patient nor carry out any research on any human being without the valid informed consent of the subject or the appropriate legal protector thereof, understanding that research must have its purpose, the furtherance of the health of that individual. Into whatever patient setting I enter, I will go for the benefit of the sick, and will abstain from every voluntary act of mischief or corruption, and further from the seduction of any patient, whatever in connection with my professional practice or not in connection with it I may see or hear in the lives of my patients, what ought not to be spoken abroad, I will not divulge, reckoning that all such should be kept secret. While I continue to keep this oath unviolated, may it be granted to me to enjoy life and the practice of the art and science of medicine with the blessing of the Almighty. Again, that's deceiving, and respected by my peers and society. And should I trespass and violate this oath, may the reverse be my lot. So many people should be really aware of this oath and how now it's almost been tossed aside, I think. Because now this is from harvard.edu, the myth of the Hippocratic Oath. It says, this is from June 25th, 2015. Okay, it says, soon after his shootout with police in 2013, one of the suspected Boston Marathon, of course, it's going to go into the Boston Marathon story. We'll just not comment on that story just today, was taken to an area hospital with serious injuries. A reporter covering the story described how, despite the heinous crimes of which had been accused, doctors would work hard to save his life because they'd taken an oath to do so. I knew she was referring to the Hippocratic Oath, but I also knew she was wrong. That's very interesting. Says there was a good chance that these doctors had never taken the Hippocratic Oath, but even if they had, there's nothing in the oath that specifically obligates them to provide care for suspected criminals. Perhaps it should, but it doesn't. In fact, the modern-day Hippocratic Oath covers only a few issues relevant to the ethical practice of medicine. It does cover some important stuff. Some of that stuff is controversial and has been liberally revised. Okay, it has been liberally revised, definitely. So it says the Hippocratic Oath is named after the ancient Greek physician Hippocrates, which most people know. He is widely considered to be its author, although its true origins are uncertain. It may have been written by one of his students or by more than one person. It represents a time-honored guideline for physicians and other healthcare professionals as they begin or end their training. By swearing to follow the principles spelled out in the oath, healthcare professionals promise to behave honestly and ethically. Those taking the original Hippocratic Oath promise to respect and support their teachers, share medical knowledge with others who are interested, use their knowledge of medicine and diet to help patients, avoid harming patients, including providing no deadly medicine, even if requested to do so, not provide a remedy that causes an abortion, seek help from other physicians, such as a surgeon, when necessary, avoid mischief, injustice, and sexual relations during visits to patients' homes. Keep patient information confidential. This was interesting, guys. More modern revisions have avoided any mention of abortion, and as in a popular 1964 revision by Dr. Louis Lasagna, a physician at Johns Hopkins University, treated euthanasia with more nuance. That's why you'll see a lot of doctors now, like the Dr. Kevorkians, putting people down, and now you'll see doctors doing abortions, okay? Now it's saying here, it may be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at all God. In addition, Dr. Lasagna encouraged a holistic and preventative approach to care. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being, whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes 3 related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. So it says today's doctors face a number of important ethical issues that are not included in the Hippocratic Oath. For example, it makes no mention of honoring patients' preferences, sharing medical information with patients, avoiding conflicts of interest such as profiting by ordering unnecessary tests or treatments, protecting patients who enroll in research studies, treating all patients equally regardless of ability to pay, social class, education, race, or suspicion of criminality, avoiding the practice of medicine while impaired due to physical or psychological diseases. And this is very important. Those 6 different criteria cannot be understated, okay? I mean, people are being, this is happening every day. The conflict of interest, they profit. So, I mean, now I realize they really do not have a duty to protect anybody, really, and you really have to take their services with a grain of salt. Take this in mind. Don't just assume they're going to do the right thing. It's a business. Who takes the oath? According to a 1989 survey, barely half of U.S. medical schools used any form of the Hippocratic Oath, and only 2% used the original. Scary. In a 2011 study published in the Archives of Internal Medicine, about 80% of practicing physicians reported participating in an oath ceremony, but only a quarter felt that the oath significantly affected how they are practiced. Beyond the Hippocratic Oath. In the United States, when newly matriculating medical students are draped in their freshly starched white coats, an oath of some kind is often read as part of the ceremony. But there is far more for these new trainees to learn and understand than a passage as brief or as ancient as the Hippocratic Oath could capture. Today, health professionals routinely encounter ethical challenges in modern clinical practice. Rather than rely on well-intentioned but outdated principles, they must call upon their experience and training. Widely accepted modern guidelines, the advice of mentors, and their personal sense of right and wrong to figure out what to do. Fortunately, there are many useful resources beyond the Hippocratic Oath to help them in the right direction. Well, it shows that they're very limited, guys, on their definitely on their morals. Let's just say on their ethics. They have a lot of freedom to use their own discernment. Okay, so this is just for the patients. Okay, I'm just letting you know that they have a wide range of options they can do. And if people think, oh, they're all about the Hippocratic Oath, they're not going to do you any harm. Well, guys, I mean, that is your own personal opinion, because I've shown many, many vids, and there's many stories how there can be very disrespectful, let's just say, doctors out there that shouldn't be practicing, that go into it for the wrong reasons, and they do like to play God. Most of them really do play God, okay? A lot of them, you go in there, they tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that. If you don't do this, you will die. If you don't do my expensive treatments, you will die. Get it? They do that all the time. And even in this doctor, he says you got to take a very holistic approach, right? Because people, when they go into these institutions, these medical clinics, they just look at the aberration. They'll just look at the fever. They'll just look at you in body parts. You're supposed to look at the whole organism, because everything affects everything else, okay? But you got to look at the whole person, right? And prevention, healthy prevention, clean water, good food, staying away from toxic substances, nutrients, that will keep you away from the stuff. But it's funny how they constantly have to say this, because there is a lot of mischief in sexual relations. We've heard that patients have been sexually assaulted by doctors time and time again. Now it takes a doctor to cause an abortion, right? Okay, and they look, it is quite a It is like a cult because they look at their doctors like they're so, holier than thou. They're larger than life, and they have a duty to have some type of loyalty to these people, you know. And they were not, this gives you a little, and even tells you that it was a seminal document on the ethics of medical practice, right? Now it's saying it's rarely used in its original form today. Now that's just something to think about. And when people say, oh, it's not a religion and this and that, well, that's what this symbol is all about, the Asclepius symbol. Just want people to be more aware of it, okay? This is something I had to see for myself too, because this is the entity that they're following. And that's why you'll see a lot of pharmakia, you'll see a lot of pills and potions. And the Bible also calls out physicians of no value, and they throw you that snake and they're telling you where they get their power from. So when you're dealing with holistic medicine and naturopathy, we're all about doing no harm. We're not going to recommend taking really potent drugs, really potent chemotherapies, and all this stuff with crazy side effects. That's the antithesis, that is the epitome, that is the epitome of doing harm and the antithesis of good health. Okay, we work with the immune system and not against it. But I'm going to put this for you guys. You can look at the modern and the original version, how different it is and how much more lenient it is. And it even tells you here on harvard.edu. They barely even take it, and it's so removed from its original context that doesn't even have any force at all. Not really. And it's allowing these people, it says, be within my power to take a life. Okay, so that's in the 1964 Hippocratic Oath revision by Dr. Louis Lasagna. So within their reason or within their power, they can take a life. And I think that's very important for people to have in mind when they blindly trust these people, okay? So I'm not going to make this long. I hope this plays. Please bear with me if my videos are a little funny. I will try to change the file if I have to. Maybe it's the file type that wasn't uploading. So I appreciate you guys watching, and anytime you learn something, that's always a win-win. So I hope you did today, guys, and I will keep you posted soon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I got to get back to it, and stay safe out there, and don't let anybody do you any harm.